life can hit like a sledgehammer. But guess what? We hit back harder. Welcome to Affirm That Sh. Somehow I thrive. I'm Jennifer Rogers, your no BS guide to turning life's toughest moments into badass victories. Ready to flip the script? Let's affirm that life can be a bitch, but somehow we thrive. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Affirm That Sh. And do we have a special guest for you today, Miss Shalina Bell? So I have a question before we bring Shalina on. Have you ever challenged yourself? And in the moments of that challenge, didn't complete it? Because if I don't complete, who sees, right? Who holds me accountable? Who holds me responsible? Well, that's not Shalina. This sister stepped up, stood out, and is shining today. She's going to share with us how she kept going in the times that it would have been so easy to remain quiet. If this is your first episode with us, I invite you to join us as we repeat 3 affirmations all around Shalina's story. I ask you to take a deep breath. Close your eyes if you're able, and repeat these with me. I am consistent with my growth and goals. I am consistent with my growth and goals. I am consistent with my growth and goals. My energy is contagious and inspiring to others. My energy is contagious and inspiring to others. My energy is contagious and inspiring to others. Gratitude is always the answer. Gratitude is always the answer. Gratitude is always the answer. After this quick break, we'll be with Shalina. Stay with us.
Imagine a space where you let go, where the clamor of the world quiets and you meet your truest self. At Yukio, through sound vibrations, Reiki, and the wisdom of tarot, we help you release what no longer serves you, align with your energy, and renew your spirit. Begin your journey back to yourself today.
Hi, Shalina. Welcome to today's episode of Affirm That Sh. Thank you for being a guest with me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a blessing. Thank you.
I am so proud to have met you and got to spend a couple of moments with you and learning a little bit about your story just in our pre-call. And so what I would like for you to do is to take this time to connect with our listeners and our viewers and share your story with them. And girl, this is a no holds barred podcast. So you let it all out and we're going to work through that shit together. And as you heard the affirmations, we're ready to go. So the stage is yours, beautiful.
So firstly, your affirmations that you gave me describe me to a T. Even if we've only had a short window of time talking, everything that you gave me, I was like, wow, I feel like she's known me my whole life, the affirmations you gave me. So I am a single mom of 2. I'm a Reiki Master, an author who recently published a memoir/self-help book, and it's titled Don't Worry, Inner Child, We Got This.
Mm-hmm.
And it is more of, I feel like it's a tribute to our inner child. And sharing my journey, I feel, would also not only help others resonate, but also to make others feel seen, to say that, you know what, you're not alone. We are all the same, and the only thing that's different is our journey. And I wanted people to feel and see that other people do go through things, and life isn't always, because I'm always smiling, it's not always easy. It doesn't mean I was given things and had things handed to me. um, I lost my mom at 24 years old, and I was the last one to speak with her. And she went from being completely fine to me getting a phone call saying, Mommy's in the hospital, and she passed out, and they found blood in her brain. And I'm like, wait a minute. I was talking to her all day. She was checking on me. So that definitely caused a PTSD for me when it came to someone randomly calling my phone, or if someone calls my job, I immediately think it's the worst news. And it also was a healing experience for me in the sense of you don't have to fear. And fear, I always say, is not real. It's just false evidence appearing real. And that
Yes.
sometimes someone's just calling you just to say hi. It doesn't mean someone's dying or it's something terrible happening, you know? And my children are my little miracle babies. I was told at 22 that I was diagnosed with fibroid tumors, which were thankfully non-cancerous tumors, but they had said, we don't know if you'll ever be able to have children because of the amount of these things and where they are. And something about me growing up, I was always a very maternal child. I knew without a doubt I wanted children and to be a mom. I didn't care so much about the husband or getting married. I just knew I wanted to be a mom. I did not play with Barbie dolls. All I wanted was the newest baby alive doll for Christmas because that was like who I was to my core. So then you tell me at 22, you have these things growing and we don't know if you'll be able to have children. And that actually was the point in my life where I felt like if you can say something broke you, I felt like that broke me. But there was a little 1% of me that had hope and faith that don't give up completely on that. And it took 6 doctors and 20 years later for me to finally say, you know what? Being in pain for 20 years is not a quality of life for anyone. And I decided to have a hysterectomy 2 years ago, actually, because the pain started getting too much for me. I couldn't lift my groceries, I couldn't exercise. And the funny thing about that is, I'm such a private person, but it's kind of ironic to say that since I put out a memoir, but I'm such a private person that people I work with on my day to day had no idea I was in pain at work. They call me the sunshine of my job because I'm always smiling and, just giving compliments and thinking of others. So, me being in pain and crying in my car on the way home from work, no one had any idea what I was dealing with for 20 years. So, on top of my mom passing out of nowhere and being in chronic pain from these tumors, and I've had multiple surgeries removing things, and then the tumors would come back, but when they came back with a vengeance and they brought friends with them. So I developed other things that grew. And I'm a very firm believer in not letting anything beat me mentally, physically, emotionally. So that's why it lasted for 20 years because I refused to let this thing be the decision of me not being able to have any more children if I wanted to. But after 20 years, it got so bad that I was like, I have to do this. I have to. And on February 22nd, in 2023, I had the surgery and I felt like I was reborn, actually. I felt like I had a second chance at life because I got to experience what life was like without being in pain all the time. And especially at 22 years old, like what way can you live at 22? Girls want to go to the beach, or I'm afraid to wear white. I'm scared of standing too long because it's going to hurt me. I'm scared of lifting too long because it's going to hurt me. So I felt like 2 years ago was when everything was fresh for me and started all over again. And my book, I talk a lot about healing and doing the work. And the word heal isn't healthy. In order for us to be healthy, we need to heal. Now, a lot of people, unfortunately, from what I've witnessed, are adults basically walking around as broken children because we've either never had the tools or they were given the tools to heal but didn't know how to use them and weren't taught how to do that. So I came across a lot of people, not only just friends, family, that they were never taught what that meant to heal or do the work. So in my book, I talk a lot about how I evolved into the person that I am today. And that it wasn't easy for me. And I dealt with a lot of things in private, a lot of people had no idea about. But I talk about the importance of self love and healing, but not just using things that can numb your pain and suppressing it. And I talk about triggers. And basically, what triggers are basically just letting you know that you're not done. There's still work to be done. Triggers are there for a reason. It's letting you know, nope, that's triggering you. Okay, so then ask yourself the right questions. Not so much if it's a person, let's say, that did something to you that you felt affected you or intentionally did something malicious to hurt you. It's not the person, it's your ego that wants you to believe it's the person doing something to you. But I've developed an inner knowing and I guess I would say the insight, or I look at things now more in a deeper way, I guess I would say, as to why are they like that? And it most always goes back to something with their inner child that caused them to mistreat people or do the things that they do. It's usually never something personally against you. And it's an amazing journey when you self-reflect and become self-aware of just people in general and how everything we do and the choices we make has a lot to do with what we have dealt with and what we have healed from or lack of healed from, I could say too. I'm still, I'm 44 and I'm still learning. I'm still evolving. I'm still healing. Even recently, something triggered me in my relationship, and I said, wait a minute, that's not him. That's something from my mom that triggered me when I was growing up that I thought I was doing good with. And I thought I got past it. And I said, no, it's not even my boyfriend. It's actually something I never really sat with. And growing up, we were not the emotional, affectionate family. My family didn't say I love you. And I tell my daughter that and she looks at me with three heads like, what do you mean? Because I'm telling my children I love them all the time. I'm always showing affection. But now, so let's say you're a child that was never given that affection or emotional security that you needed, right? Then you develop into an adult who lacks all of those things. You lack showing affection. You lack showing emotion because we're either taught that it makes you look weak or we just were never taught that it's okay to feel. And so, me at 44, I have learned that emotions are just energy emotion and we need to feel things and then release them
You
because,
are absolutely correct. Absolutely. You are just dropping bombs on us that so many of us need to hear and think about. And one thing I just want to comment on while we're still in this subject for the moment is, thinking in that reflection and saying, I know that's not him. I know that's not me. One thing that I've turned to practice in myself is instead of the questioning of why and what, it's changing it to a curiosity perspective
right.
because that's exactly how children are. Children are curious,
Yes,
they're playful. And if we can be curious, as you say, with that inner child and say, what's going on?
right.
I'm curious why I'm feeling this. I'm curious this way. And just that one set shift can change your focus and allow you that inner voice, that inner intuition of what we need to spend some time around.
Right, exactly. And I say, like, another little thing I like to tell people is, let's say you wake up in the morning and you just feel like, oh, I don't feel like doing this today. I don't feel like going to work. Like, my energy is not right. So think of it as if it's a radio station and you're in the car, right? Say you get in the car and there's a song on and you don't really like the song. What do we naturally do? We change the station. So we should do the same thing with ourselves. If we don't like the energy or the vibration or the frequency that we're in, change the station. Find something else that you like, whether it be a different song. Think of something positive. I always say have the attitude of gratitude. Start thinking of things you're grateful for, because once you start practicing that, that immediately changes your frequency. So
Yes.
there's so many different practices that I have learned and developed, whether it was meditation. Also, I got certified as a Reiki Master, and that was something I actually wasn't looking for. I had a friend that she started doing Reiki and she practiced on me, and I said to myself, I could do that. And I knew I could do that because whenever my child was sick or my children were sick, I should say, my daughter, who's the oldest, would say, "Can you just put your hands on me?" She's like, "If you put your hands on me, I know I'll feel better." So this is before I even knew about Reiki. She would say that. And then here comes my friend, a while after that, telling me she started doing this thing called Reiki and she showed me how she did it. And I said to myself, I already know I have power in my hands. So why don't I get certified? So this way it might intensify it and I can also learn the symbols at the same time too. So, and sure enough, I got certified and I feel like my hands feel heat in them immediately. And I didn't, it wouldn't happen as fast before I became certified and learned everything. So being a healer, I think also comes hand in hand with me being an intense empath, which is also something else that I was gifted with, I should say. It sometimes feels like a gift and a curse because some people I can feel really strongly. And my dad used to always say to me, the eyes are the window to the soul. So my dad, growing up, we used to read books together on extrasensory perception, telepathy, and I was a child going to like the little book fairs at school. And instead of getting like books on coloring, I would get books on extrasensory perception, telepathy, mediumship. And then as I got older, I'm like, why was I drawn to that stuff as a kid? Because kids don't usually go or gravitate to things like that, but I did. And then as I got older, my intuition got stronger. My senses were heightened and I would start dreaming more, having more premonitions. And I feel like we all have a gift, and I feel like everyone's gift is different. Some are
Mhm.
stronger than others. And I also feel that emotional blockages will block how heightened your gift can be. I developed during COVID, I took a course from a teacher I met. He lived in the UK and he had a mediumship course. And I was like, I would love to be able to speak with spirit, but not on the level of like the Long Island medium where they're bothering her all the time. Like, I didn't want that. And I took this course, and I promise you, not even 2 months after, I actually saw someone's deceased loved one while we were talking, standing next to them. And it did not scare me, which most people would be like, oh, it didn't scare me. And I told my best friend, I said, there's someone standing next to you. There's a woman, and I'm describing this person. And she's like, never happened. I've never done it on anyone. It's never, that was my first experience. My best friend's looking at me like, that's my grandma.
How do you know, right? How do you know?
Yeah. And I'm describing her, and she's like, Shalina. And then on the other side of her was another woman, and she's only showing me the side of her face, but she's blocking her face with her hair. And I'm telling my best friend this. She goes, that was my mom. She's like, every picture my mom took, she never showed her face. I was like, oh. But I think it kind of scared her a little bit because just a sense of energy change. I was like, I'm going to stop talking now because I think this is making her uncomfortable, but I'm here for it. But
Right.
I actually, this is the first time I ever openly said that I had that gift of being able to see spirit. I, I kind of kept it to myself. I want to say maybe my dad knows because it's like our area of expertise, I would say, but I've never vocally said it out loud that I could do that. And I don't know if it's because I know a lot of people fear what they don't understand. And I think a lot of movies make people feel like it's something scary or dark, but it's
There's a
always
lot of
people.
false in movies.
Right.
So much added to it. And for
And it's so
people like you
true.
and I, that
Right.
we have this and we have this connection. I think my husband has said it best, and I guarantee you, your dad has said something similar because it sounds,
Yeah.
again, the same, that You could put myself and 100 other people in the room, and I am automatically going to find that person that has the same feel.
Right. Yes. It's so true. And it's I find that I'm able to use it as a switch. I can cut it off and on. That's one of the things I learned in the course that I took. Um, I've had people that I've had incidences with where their loved one popped up, but it's usually when they're talking about that person that they show up for me. I don't go looking for it. It doesn't just follow me around. It's usually at the time it's supposed to. I always say that. And I almost feel like this last woman I had the experience with, I think I scared her a little bit. I was like, I don't think you're going to look at me the same again after this. And then I see her again and she's trying to be very cordial and sweet but I could feel she's scared. Like it's a scary feeling when you're new and you don't know what to expect. And she's also still dealing with the loss of someone. It's 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 unfamiliar, I should say.
And to be fair, it could feel a little intrusive because she may not have asked for that information. And
She
if we
did.
share, it's kind of like, ah.
Yeah. She stopped like you started it. You asked me, can I see your dad? Your dad popped up. You asked me questions. I'm telling you. But it's still like a lot. I understand that too, you know? But I also let her know like they only come in peace when it happens. It's nothing that you need to be afraid of.
That's right. Shalina, you've made a movement with the growth in yourself and sharing where you started from and in your journey of pain and leading through. As we get ready to wrap up today's show, I know that there are going to be viewers and there are going to be listeners that completely connected with you. Your vibration, as you said it, is just phenomenal. And so I know that others are going to want to reach out. Can you share with us, those viewers and those listeners, how they can reach out to you, what you're doing? And I know you just had your sold out book launch. That was amazing. So feel free to drop the name of your book, how they can get it, and we'll be sure to share all those in the show notes as well. That's a lot of S's in there. Tongue twister.
Absolutely. I would love to. So my book is called Don't Worry, Inner Child. We Got This. And you can find it on Amazon.com. Also, I am actually pretty big on Instagram in the sense that I started a daily rituals movement in 2019, and it started getting views from people all over the world thanking me because what I would do is I would share an exercise workout that I was doing, a meditation, but then I would also post an inspirational or motivational quote. And I still do my daily rituals every single day since July of 2019. I've had strangers message me saying, something you posted today really helped me get through a surgery. You don't know me, but please keep going and doing what you're doing because people need this. And that made me feel like, you know what? You're serving your purpose right now. And you can find me on Instagram at Shalina B _. And I'm also on TikTok as My Serenity. And my Facebook is Shalina Bell.
Thank you. And once again, just thank you for being here and spending some time with us today.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you.
You just took another step towards owning your story and thriving against all odds. This is Affirm That Shit. Somehow I thrived. If you're ready to keep kicking ass, subscribe now and let's keep breaking barriers together. Remember, life's a battle, but somehow you'll thrive.